there, fellow Star Wars nerds, and welcome to Unlimited Content, the podcast where two brothers talk about all of Star Wars film and TV in chronological order on the internet as an excuse to hang out more. We're your hosts, Sam and Jack, and this week we're talking about The Clone Wars Season 1, Episode 15, Trespass.
Ooh, Trespass.
Sam, I hear it's somebody's birthday today.
It's not my birthday. Jack, is it your birthday?
I don't think so.
Wait.
Wait.
There's a third person here.
What? Who could it be?
Dad, is that you? Dad, is it your birthday?
It's your... Boys, I am your father.
Happy birthday, Dad.
He's here.
No, it's not true. That's impossible.
Yeah, buddy, our guest today is our dad.
Hello.
Hey, Dad.
Hey.
How you doing,
How's
Dad?
it going today?
It's going great. It's been a good day.
Yeah, Dad is joining us on his birthday, so we're honored to have him today.
Woo.
Thanks.
It's great to get to hang out with our
Thanks
dads.
for having me.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess before we get started with things, Dad, do you want to introduce kind of your what's your history with Star Wars like? What are your some of your favorite Star Wars things? Did you grow up with Star Wars? Any other things you want to say about yourself, etc.?
Yes. And so, like the histories that you guys have given in the past about watching Star Wars on VHS when you guys were kids, I saw those same movies in the theaters at the Esquire Theater in Enid, Oklahoma. So I remember going to the Esquire Theater. It was a single screen theater and the only theater in town. But yeah, so we watched those. It was a big dang deal when the new movies came out. So we saw those there. So yes, I was a Star Wars fan. I also started out as a Star Trek fan because of my parents, and Star Trek came out about 10 years before that. So we watched those on little TVs, little black and white, and eventually color TVs in the farmhouse. And then when Star Wars came out, we went to see it in the theaters. And then later when it came out on VHS, I spent my winnings from my first lottery ticket win on the 3 VHS set of the 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, you got the special editions, right?
Huh?
I think it was the special editions that you got.
Yeah.
On VHS.
Yeah. I think I've still got them here somewhere, too.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, they should still be there.
Yeah, those are the VHSs that Jack and I watched Star Wars for the first time on.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's where my history started, and it's been Star Wars ever since.
We love it.
Ooh. Yeah. You want to talk about what of Star Wars have you seen? You've seen most of Clone Wars and Rebels, and you've watched live action shows.
I've actually seen them all, I think. I've not watched the Lego Star Wars, but I've seen Clone Wars. I've seen Rebels. Yeah. All the movies. I'm rewatching. I'm watching Ahsoka right now. I'm watching Andor with your mother right now. Or we just finished watching that because she had not seen that one before. So we watched that together, and now we're rewatching Obi-Wan. So again, all things Star Wars. And when I take my break at lunch, I watch an old Clone Wars or Rebels episode on my phone in my office.
Nice.
Just relax.
That's awesome.
Yay. So Dad he's soaked in Star Wars.
Yeah. So you out there in listener land, you see where we get it from. It all makes sense now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. Fun listening, boys. Have fun with Star Wars because that's a happy place for me too.
Oh yeah. And you are a faithful listener as well. I want to thank you for that.
Yes, I am. I finished the Squirrel Power episode this morning.
The one with Andy, yeah.
Yeah. That's the last one that's out right now.
No, there's one more that I haven't watched.
I just put out the most recent one, Sam.
Oh, you did?
The live, yeah.
Oh,
the live one.
Just kidding. Ha.
So,
yep.
As of today, that's out, yeah.
Nice. I have not been on my phone today, so there you go.
That's okay.
Cool beans. Well, there we go.
All right. Well, we do have bills to pay.
What?
Sam.
No, we don't.
I don't know if you're aware.
No bills.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, no, we don't. But you're not supposed to. It's a joke, Sam. You're supposed to not.
Shh, my bad. We do it.
Be quiet.
There are definitely bills we have to pay. I'm so sorry.
You invented this bit. Of having bills to pay.
I was being sarcastic. Obviously, we have bills to pay. I'm sorry, whoever our sponsor is, that I've forsaken you, Jack. Who is our unlimited sponsor for our limited bills this week?
This episode of Unlimited Content is brought to you by used bookstores. just because they're pleasant places to go and be in the air conditioning and look at things, and you never know what you're gonna find.
That's true. I was at a used bookstore this afternoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was a Half Price Books. But little did I know that they were sponsoring our episode tonight. So thanks.
Yeah.
Specifically
Cool.
the Overland Park Half Price Books.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I went to so like I guess we can start with the what we've been up to. I guess I'll go first because it transitions well into what I was just talking about. I for the past year or so at my current job, I've been working weekends. My schedule's been Wednesday through Sunday. But just as of like a couple weeks ago, I was able to, because some people left and there was a new hire, and so schedules were able to move around, and now I work Monday through Friday and I have regular weekends, which is great. Getting to go like spend time with friends and do things when other people are doing things. It's so like this past weekend I went to a flea market with some friends, and then after that I went to a couple record stores, and I went to a Half Price Books, and just hanging out, going looking at things, and it was just fun. It was surprising to me like how, like, one of the things I was worried about when going to like regular weekends is like the one downside I thought was like, oh well, everything's going to be busier on the weekends, and there's it's gonna be like, I don't know, hard to get movie tickets, and it's gonna be crowded in more places or whatever. But what I found is that like it's nice to actually like go out into the world and have like other people doing things around you and feel like, oh, I'm part of the world right now. Because usually my weekends are Monday, Tuesday, when everybody else is doing nothing, and I if I go out and do something, it's anyway. I've been living like what feels like a very isolated life in a lot of ways, and so this has been a nice change of pace of like, oh right, I exist in the same world as everybody else, so that was fun.
Nice. Real happy for you, Jack. That's fantastic. Yeah, I can't imagine how weird it's been just like having an odd schedule, and then finally getting to have like a normal schedule. I know, like, for like, if this is not nearly the same, but like in a little way, like I a lot of times during the fall work Sundays, and so I don't get to like enjoy like Sundays in the fall in the Midwest, which means I don't get to watch NFL games with people. Which is like most of the socializing that happens in the fall is around like the Chiefs games, because I'm in Kansas City. And so it's weird. So like I imagine it's kind of similar, like the random Sundays that I have off, I'm just like, oh, this is so liberating, it's so free, I can just like be a normal person again. So I resemble your sentiment there. So yeah.
It's nice to like to be able to go and do things with friends when they're doing things, because I not only have I been working weekends, I also work evenings. So like I get off work at 11 p.m. and so it's not like I can, even during the work week, I can't like do things in the evening. So my weekend is really the only time I have to like go and do stuff. And yeah, so I'm excited about that aspect of my life.
I'm real happy for you about that.
Yeah, me too. Let's see what else. I recently finally watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Ooh, how was it? I've heard good things.
Yeah, it came out on Disney Plus finally, so I wouldn't watch that. I think we talked about this before, but like there haven't been a lot of Marvel movies or Marvel things recently that I've been super interested in watching, but this is one that I was like, no, I definitely want to watch this because I really like the Guardians movies, and I feel like they stand kind of on their own enough that it's like their own set of characters with their own kind of. It's the movies that like I want to watch because I like them specifically, and I would watch them even if they weren't part of the MCU. Whereas like before, there might have been movies that like I might not have been super interested in, but I watched them because they contributed to the larger story of
Sure.
like the MCU and the Infinity Saga and stuff. But these are like ones that I'm like genuinely like excited for, and I like these. So I watched Volume 3, and I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. I think it's like, at least at the moment, I think it's my favorite of the Guardians movies.
Wow.
I think it's one of the best MCU movies in my opinion.
Better than the first one?
I think so, like personally, I think so. But I mean, my opinion could change. But I've also seen it, like I've seen the first one several times, and so maybe it's just like lost its sheen a little bit. But I love that movie too. Yeah, they're all great. But Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was super, just it's incredibly, like, the Guardians movies in particular are super creative and colorful in a way that a lot of the other Marvel movies aren't a lot of the time. And I think James Gunn, who's the writer and director of these movies, really like understands like how to make a movie that's like a big bombastic fun action movie, but also is really rooted in character and like emotion and kind of the things that people are going through and the arcs they go through. And this one in particular really leans into that. Like, it leans into like examining what these characters are all about, and it is one of the darkest Marvel movies, actually. Like, it's there are moments, there's like some really dark violent stuff that happens to where it's like there are parts of it that are like, it verges on being R-rated almost, I would say.
Wow.
Like, there's some real weird, like, disturbing stuff and like gross stuff. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it, but I'm just, as a fair warning to anybody who wants to watch it. And it's also like one of the sadder Marvel movies, because it's like the kind of the crux of the plot centers around Rocket Raccoon's origin story and how he came to be, and the like experiments that were done on him and stuff to turn him into what he is. And it's incredibly well told and really touching and beautiful. It's also just very, very dark at times. But it ends happily, and I think it's a great ending to the trilogy, and it's just really good. I just came away from it feeling like man, that was a great movie. So that was nice. That was good.
Sweet. It's definitely on the watch list. I just haven't gotten around to it. I don't know. But yeah, it looks really good. And you have sold me. If I was on the fence about watching it, I'm definitely going to watch it at some point in the not too distant future. But it is like in the Kansas City Ford House, it is approaching Halloween in that it is not July anymore. so
in the Kansas City Ford House, it's always approaching Halloween.
It is. We are either awaiting Halloween, experiencing Halloween, or mourning the immediate loss of Halloween.
I was going to say mourning.
Yeah, that's the only options here in our house. Halloween is my wife's and now my daughter's favorite holiday. So
excellent.
Yeah. So we are already starting to watch Halloween movies at our house, or at least we're gearing up to watch Halloween movies. One of the first ones we're going to watch is Young Frankenstein. Very excited about that.
Ooh,
yep.
Frankenstein.
Yes. You guys know the portrait of Dr. Frankenstein that is like a really kind of like, it kind of looks like it's painted on velvet kind of portrait that is hanging somewhere in the movie. You guys know what I'm talking about? The portrait of okay, we bought a copy of the portrait and it's hanging in our kitchen.
Nice.
Like we're talking like 16 by 20, like it's huge copy of this portrait, and it's hanging in our kitchen, like on our like gallery wall kind of thing. So
fun.
That's
that's awesome.
So
I need to rewatch that movie. It's been a long time, but I love that movie.
Yep.
But yeah.
That's awesome. That's kind of what we're up to in the Ford House, is getting ready for Halloween, even though it's Labor Day weekend. That's really the big thing that's happening right now is Halloween. Marion's already decided that she's going to be a purple butterfly for Halloween.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I don't know what I'm going to be. Sarah mentioned I'm going to be Link or something. Sounds good to me. Cool, fun.
You should be like you should be Breath of the Wild Link. You should get like the blue champions tunic and stuff.
That would be cool. I would want that. Yeah. Not all right. So speaking of Zelda, since the last episode, I finally beat Tears of the Kingdom, like in its entirety. Like I beat the final boss, and I did every single shrine, and I'm working through the side quests right now, just because I don't want to let go of this game because it's very good, and I don't want it to end. So I'm just going. I'm going through side quests right now, and I think within the next month or so, if I still have time to do it, I will have like done all of the side quests on Tears of the Kingdom. There's a little checklist. Like, so I'm gonna basically 100% it without doing the Koroks, because those don't count. Those are mean. The amount of Koroks.
It's a madman's quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that. That's kind of those are the things I've been up to. That's me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Which is no, you're good. It flows well into what I'm talking about because speaking of gigantic video games, so Dad, we talked about this on a previous episode, but it's one that's not out yet, so you haven't heard about it. But there's a game that came out a couple weeks ago called Baldur's Gate 3, and it is basically it's Dungeons and Dragons in video game form. And it's a gigantic fantasy world that you can explore, and you create your own character, and you go and you can recruit other characters to join your party. You can talk to people and romance NPCs, and you can fight monsters, and all those sorts of things. And it's been very, very critically acclaimed, and it's been very successful. And it's a gigantic game. It's super like upwards of 100 hours worth of content kind of thing. And I've played maybe 10 or 15 hours of it so far, and I've loved what I played so far, but I just haven't been able to. I've been busy with other like work stuff, so I haven't been able to do a ton of playing of it. But I've been loving it. The reason I bring it up is because in a few days, another gigantic RPG that I want to play is coming out, and I'm afraid that I'm going to die before I get to play either of these games. So I've spoken with both of you about this before, but the game's coming out soon. It's called Starfield.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big old space exploration.
Is that the one where you can build your own ships?
Adventure. Yes.
That I've seen clips coming out online of people who have like already started building their own ships. Someone built the Millennium Falcon. And someone built Firefly, or the Serenity. Is that what it's called?
The Serenity.
The Serenity. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's another gigantic open world RPG where you explore space and do all sorts of quests, and there's space pirates and what. Anyway, it looks amazing, and it's getting generally pretty great reviews. Some of them are a little mixed. People are a little split on this game, it seems like, but for the most part, it's been getting really good reviews. And based on everything I've read, I think I'm really going to enjoy it. I love the games that this studio has made. Well, I generally love the games that this studio has made in the past, which are like the Fallout games. I played a few of those, and then they also made like the Elder Scrolls games, like Skyrim, things like that. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to Starfield. I am concerned for like I don't know if I'll ever get to play through Baldur's Gate 3 at this point, because I was not actually that excited for Baldur's Gate 3 until like the week before it came out, when all the reviews came out and people were saying, "Oh, this is one of the best games ever made." So I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I should play this." So I started playing that, and but then Starfield's coming out this week, and Starfield's a game that I have been excited for a long time. They announced it like 2015, 2016, something like that. I don't know. It's been a long time since they like initially announced that they were making this game, and it's finally coming out. I'm very excited, but I'm just like, how am I going to have the time to have like? There are too many games that are coming out this year that are the equivalent of like a full-time job. There's like, we got Tears of the Kingdom, we got Baldur's Gate 3, and now we're getting Starfield, and that's not even like, there's more big games coming out later this year too. Like Spider-Man 2 is coming out later this year. Super Mario Bros. Wonder looks amazing. That's coming out later this year.
But there's no Mario game coming out?
Yeah, they're coming out with a new 2D side-scrolling Mario game that is, for the first time since like New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, it has like a new art style and like new mechanics and stuff. It's like an actual refresh of the series, as opposed to like the past like 5 2D games that have all looked exactly the same and played exactly the same. Yeah. So anyway, I'm very excited for that. Thus ends my video game soapbox. Yeah, that's
come back next week for more video game soapboxing from Jack.
Yes, this has been our recurring segment. Jack gets on his soapbox and talks about video games for a while.
But Jack, anytime we call it a recurring segment, we're not allowed to do it again.
Oh no, you're right.
Oops.
Oh, I killed the bit.
Jack.
All right. Well, Dad, what have you been up to recently?
Well, besides some major home repairs, which we shall not speak of.
This is a happy place, Dad. We don't talk about that.
Yes. I've been reading the third book in the Dune series, Children of Dune. So I've reread the first one, before watching the movie, and then after watching the movie, waiting for the second half of the movie to come out. But now I'm finished the second book, and I'm into the third one right now, so I'm enjoying that. My wife and I your mother and I enjoyed season 2 of Star Trek Brave New Worlds, especially the musical episode. That was interesting and fun.
The musical episode?
Oh, that's awesome.
You didn't hear about that musical episode?
No, I'm not really caught up to speed on Star Trek these days.
This is probably the best Star Trek series they've had in a long time. Really enjoy that. Also, we're watching Ahsoka, of course. Enjoying that. Watched, as I mentioned earlier, watched Andor with your mom because she hadn't seen that one before, so we watched that. And now we're watching Obi-Wan again. And one thing I liked about I'd forgotten about this, the first episode of the Obi-Wan series, the summary of Anakin from the beginning up until then was the best. All clips from all the movies, all the leading up to that was a good summary of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then for my birthday today, your sister, Gracie, got me Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the official Black Spire Outpost cookbook.
Nice.
It's amazing.
It is. It's great. It's got great artwork, great recipes. I mean, nothing too complicated, but like the first one I made today was, what's it called? Oh, I had the picture up. Basically, the Black Spire Outpost is mentioned by Lando in episode 4, New Hope, at one point. But also today I made what's called the Rings of Hudala, which is basically onion rings wrapped in bacon.
That sounds about right.
And that goes along with yesterday's theme, because yesterday was National Bacon Day.
Oh, well.
So
I didn't celebrate. I'm ashamed.
Silly.
Yeah, I'm having BLTs tomorrow, so I'll celebrate.
There you go.
2 days late.
2 days late.
Yeah, so that's what I've been going on.
Nice.
Well, cool. Yeah, you've been consuming a lot of media.
Yes.
I gotta ask,
cool
in your cookbook, does it have pork wings? Because I would love some pork wings.
I don't think so, but I'll go back and look.
Okay.
I know.
That's like my one fictional Star Wars food that I actually want to eat is pork wings.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. Everybody laughed when they saw one of those on the spit when Chewbacca was grilling one.
Yep. And the other one's just standing there staring like, what are you doing?
I don't understand. All right. All right, so news. What's up and coming in the world of Star Wars, or what's going on? I don't know of anything like new coming up, but since the last time we recorded an episode, the first 3 episodes of Ahsoka have come out. So do you want to talk about that real quick a little bit?
Sure.
Yes.
Sam, what have you thought about Ahsoka so far?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I love this show. It's so much fun. It's definitely like all of our theories of it being Rebels season 5 have been absolutely confirmed. Like,
yes, it's exactly what it is.
It's Rebels season 5, but all of the guys are missing. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, one of them's dead, and the other one is like they're gonna go find him, right? But then Zeb's not there, so that's but maybe they didn't have the budget for Zeb.
I hope Zeb shows up.
Yeah.
I want to see Zeb again.
Yeah, we haven't seen Zeb yet,
fun.
but I don't imagine that they would tease him in Mando season 3 and then not bring him in for Rebels season 5.
I hope, I would hope not.
You know, so I imagine we'll see Zeb towards the end of the series, just because I imagine it was really pricey to like animate Zeb to like the quality that they did to like get it well done.
No, he looked amazing.
He looked so good in Mando.
Yeah.
So they're like, there's no way that they're gonna like not have it live up to that, and like that has to take days and days and days of like dozens of people working. So like you can't. Yeah. it's not really feasible. But yeah, no, it's such a good show. I love the kind of like the whole idea of like Jedi lineage that they're kind of hinting at throughout all of this, with like just with the relationship of Ahsoka and Sabine, which I guess we didn't really see a whole lot of that. So I think there's just some gaps that we're missing that there's just like the gap during the original trilogy that like we don't really have anything of like what happened for the two of them or for the rest of like the Rebels crew. But it's really, really good. I love the new not Sith, but definitely Sith, but not Sith. What Balin Skull and Shin Hati. Is that their names?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're super fun. I do think it's hilarious that like all Shin Hati does, like Shin Hati's like kind of like the cool bad guy, and then like Balin Skull is just kind of like the just pointing like go there. And it's like okay, and then she goes, and that's all he does. He broods and says go that way. Like that's kind of all he does so far.
We saw him do some like some lightsabering in the first episode. Like he got some action at the beginning when he was like they were invading that ship and breaking out what's her face. But like since then he's just kind of been like standing around and telling Shin to do things. So I'm excited to see hopefully like he and Ahsoka battle at some point. I'm assuming that'll happen.
Also I love the reveal that Morgan Elsbeth, that she's a Night Sister. That's cool. No, we didn't know that. Like we knew who she was from Book of Boba Fett or Mando 2. I don't remember, but
I think it was Mando season 2. I think.
It was one of those seasons where it was a different show halfway through the show. One of the two things. But it was because we met her there, but we didn't. She had some weird tattoos and like was kind of seemed Force-ish, but like it wasn't a Jedi, wasn't a Sith. So it makes sense that she's a Night Sister. But it was super cool. They brought those.
Is this the first time we've seen a live action Night Sister?
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I love that. There was one. I think it was in the third episode we got to see her do a little bit of like Night Sister magic when she's like interacting with that like thing on the pedestal or whatever.
The focal point.
Yeah, that was cool.
The Treasure Planet thing.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what I thought when they got that map. I was like, it's the map from Treasure Planet. That's exactly what it is. Agreed. Yeah, I really liked this show so far. I thought the first episode was a little kind of slow, and I feel like they kind of spent most of that first episode establishing things and getting things set up, and it felt a little bit boring. But episodes 2 and 3 are both amazing. I love them. I love live action Chopper is amazing.
Yes, as everything
expected.
I hoped it would be and more.
Yes. I love that. I think the casting for Hera and Sabine is pretty much perfect. I think they're both doing great.
And with Sabine, sorry not to interrupt, but like with Sabine, with Rosario Dawson, like there's like she's really good Ahsoka, like really good old Ahsoka at the end of the Clone Wars or end of like the Galactic Civil War. She's really good portraying that. But with the actress, I forget her name, who plays Sabine, I don't even like notice that it's like not even the same person playing.
I know.
It's like like that. She nailed
such good casting.
Nailed Sabine.
Yeah.
Yes. The actor who plays her is Natasha Leo Bordizzo.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
Sorry, not to cut you off. I cut you off, but like I was just I had to say because it was so good.
Yes, agreed. Oh, and speaking of casting, in the first episode we got to see Ryder Azadi, who was a character in Star Wars Rebels. And the actor who plays him in live action is the same actor who voiced him in animation. It's Clancy Brown, who you might know also as the voice of Mr. Krabs. So, fun fact there for you.
Yeah, when he showed up on screen during the pilot, I forgot that Ryder Azadi was a character. Like, I just didn't remember him. And I was like, that sounds like Mr. Krabs. What is happening? I'm like, oh yeah, that's Ryder Azadi. And it was the same voice actor. But I was just like, why am I hearing Mr. Krabs on Star Wars? I was very confused.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm really loving this show so far. I love that sequence when they're flying the Phantom through the air and like chasing after that ship that's carrying like the warp drive. Like that whole sequence was super fun.
So realistic.
And like getting to see Chopper, like real live action Chopper, like just mess around with things
just
doing
Chopper
the tracking thing. I love Chopper so much.
You're saying live action, but you know what? He's still CG.
Dad, he's real. He's real, Dad.
He's real in my heart.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that there are like there are parts where he's like an actual live action like robot, and but during that part, I assume he was CG. Yeah.
Chopper's a real robot.
But
I don't want to hear it.
And speaking of which, he's seemingly best friends with Jason Syndulla now, which is great.
Oh no,
we got to see Yeah, we got to see Jason's duel of Hare's son, Hare and Kanan's son, which was super cool because like I didn't know if like going into this, there's always, especially with the animated stuff, you never know how much the live action stuff is going to acknowledge the animated shows.
Yeah.
But like this show seems to really be leaning into like this is a continuation of Rebels, and we're so we got to see Jason, which is cool. Like I don't know if I assume he'll come back at some point. I don't know if like he'll be important to the plot at all, but just the fact that he's in it, it was super cool.
And if he'll be force sensitive too.
Yeah, I imagine that Jason we're gonna see like a teenage Jason in like the sequel trilogy era or something. Like we're gonna see him kind of like maybe he might be one of like Luke's like trainees in like the new Jedi Temple, or hopefully not, because they're all dead. Yeah, so hopefully not, but something, I don't know. Or maybe Ahsoka will train him, or Sabine will train him, or who knows?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of Ahsoka is, I mean, you were talking about kind of the idea of like Jedi legacy and how they're kind of, playing with the whole idea of master and apprentice and things being passed on, and how like, and I think it's fascinating that we're getting this whole like, we're getting to see Sabine try and go through some Jedi training as someone who's clearly like not very force sensitive, if at all, but it's cool that like she's still like that, in this kind of, in this new era, this post Imperial era, this post like Jedi Order era, we get this sort of redefining of what a Jedi can be. So that's super cool. And also I love so much Hu Yang. David Tennant as Hu Yang is great. I love him so much. Hu Yang's been a great character in general, but like to see him in live action is great. He looks great, by the way, in live action. They did a great job with him. David Tennant does an amazing job, and I love how like sassy and matter of fact he is. And I also like the fact that he's not just there to kind of be a funny robot. He's like doing important plot things. Like he is able to like figure out who Baylan Skoll is by like recognizing his lightsaber from a recording, which makes sense that he'd be able to do that because he's the Ollivander of the Star Wars universe.
He basically built every lightsaber, or like was a part of, had a hand in building every Jedi's first lightsaber.
Yes, which is super cool.
It's super cool.
So love seeing him. I love I think Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati are both really super cool. I am excited for us to go into the unknown regions and find Thrawn and presumably, hopefully, Ezra as well. And it's super good. I'm really, really enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. But
yes,
yeah. Dad, did you have anything you wanted to say about?
Just that I thought Rebels was probably my favorite of the animated series, and
Me too,
probably one of the favorite ones I've watched in the last few years. And so it's fun to see, Rebels season 5 and seeing this continuing and seeing where it's going to go. And yeah, you're right. I think they nailed Sabine. She's playing that character just as we expected, or just as we remembered.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see, is she really force sensitive, or like they said in one of the episodes, is she just really relying on her Mandalorian training, or vice versa? Is it there's some force sensitive influence in her skills as a Mandalorian that they're playing in there, or vice versa?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be a spoiler, but I think that's going to be a major plot point for Ahsoka. But like, Kanan did say towards the end of Rebels that like, there's not really such thing as force sensitivity. Like the force like exists within all of us. Everyone has the capacity to be a Jedi. Some people are just more naturally adept to it than others. Right, and so
it's like I think in one of the episodes, Ahsoka says like, yes, there's an element of talent to it. Something like that. Yeah.
But that's like Andy highlighted last time, is the what's the midichlorian count? How much influence is there?
One other thing is I really, this is a small thing, but I wanna see the ghost. I mean, I assume we're going to see the ghost at some point.
Yeah.
People have pointed out in the background of shots, but I don't know if we've.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I think so.
Because we've seen the Phantom. They flew around in the Phantom a bunch, but like, I really, really, really want to see live action Ghost flying around, and I want to see the interior, and because I love that ship, and also I assume it's going to be in it because they released a Lego, or they're releasing a Lego set of it that has like Ahsoka and Huyang and stuff. So, but I'm so excited for that because
Well, like Ahsoka's ship, it's nice to see the table goes down into the floor, so the center of the ship is just this big open space.
That's so cool.
So, that's plenty of room for training or whatever.
Exactly.
And then the tables just come up, and here you are, dinner time.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's a cool feature on the ship.
It's a cool ship. I love how it can like spin and stuff. And we've seen the ship before. It's the Camry.
It's the Camry. Yeah.
The Galactic Camry. But yeah, I think it's great seeing that ship in live action and seeing it like but move around really cool. And I love there was that in the most recent episode there was like a space battle where they were like stalled in space, and Ahsoka went out in her like in a cool spacesuit and like did flips on the outside of the ship and like took down fighters just with her lightsaber, like flipping through the air.
Just like Plo Koon. Plo Koon did that.
Yeah. Plo Koon did it first. Everybody.
He did. And Plo Koon was the one who found Ahsoka. So it's kind of a cool little thing
that's
there.
true.
Yeah.
But also the interior of her ship is round like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. It's nice. There's a lot of parallels between. I mean, it's Star Wars. It all rhymes. Like there's a lot of parallels that we can always find. Before we move on to the next thing, I just wanted, Dad, I told Jack this theory before. It's not really a theory. It's just kind of like a fun little tidbit fact about Huyang. Like about where I don't know if you heard this, but where Huyang comes from in one of the books. It's like describing like where he came from. And it said Huyang's been there for as long as anybody can remember, but legend has it that thousands and thousands of years ago he just showed up at the Jedi Temple in a big blue box. Huyang's the doctor. Huyang's the doctor.
Yeah, I was talking to your mom about your episode with Andy.
Yeah.
And about what things, David's question, what things would you bring in from another universe? And your mom said the TARDIS.
That'd be great.
Honestly, yeah. That'd be awesome. The TARDIS is such cool, like, for a quick aside about how cool I think the TARDIS is, like, the idea of having, like, it's kind of like the dream of being able to, like, have your home with you everywhere and have it small enough to fit anywhere and have the ability to go anywhere. And also you can go in through time and also it's infinitely sized on the inside.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the coolest, like, fantasy fulfillment spaceship possible. It's amazing.
Yep. I think Doctor Who's coming out on Disney Plus pretty soon. Right?
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. I think in November it's coming out.
I didn't know they had the rights to that. Did they snatch up the
I read something like a year ago, and like the article's still up. Like it's never been corrected.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, every once in a while, I'm like, when do I get to watch Doctor Who again? Oh yeah, November. Okay, great, cool.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Cool. Hope so, because then there might be another Christmas episode.
Ooh.
I'm a few seasons behind. I watched like the first couple episodes of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm way more behind. I stopped watching it with Peter Capaldi, but that's just because I think I lost access to watching it. But yeah.
I also want to watch through all of. I've seen like the first season or two of David Tennant as the Doctor, but I haven't seen all of it, so I'm gonna go back and watch the rest of that.
Oh, it's so good.
I love David Tennant in all things.
Oh yeah,
Yep. Well, all right. Without further ado, I think it's time for us to move on to our main segment where we're talking about this week's episode.
Alrighty.
So this week we're talking about the Clone Wars Season 1, Episode 15, Trespass. Sam, where does this episode take place in the Star Wars timeline?
I'm not even going to check, but I'm pretty sure it's 21 BBY. Yep, 21 BBY.
Yeah! Yep.
21.
It's going to be 21 BBY for the next, 20 episodes or something.
Yeah, until Season 2, Episode 15 is the last one in 21. And then we go on to... Yeah, so Episode 38 of the podcast. This one will finally make it to 20 BBY.
Excellent. All right. So let's see. The moral of this episode was arrogance diminishes wisdom. It's a good one. I like that one. Nice and succinct and also true.
Yes.
And principal first. Republic outpost overrun! The Jedi have lost all contact with the clone security force stationed on the bleak snow-covered planet of Orto Plutonia. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, accompanied by dignitaries from the nearby moon of Pantora, are sent to investigate the disappearance of the clone troopers on the desolate and forbidding landscape. There we go.
Good job.
You know what I just realized?
Thank you. What?
Is Pantora supposed to be... Wait, when did this come out? Hold on. When did this come out? This episode was released 2009.
Yeah.
Was
this came out in 2009?
You know what else came out around 2009? Avatar.
Avatar came out like almost a year after this.
Pandora.
Well, I mean, they were talking about Pandora, Blue People. Pantora, Blue People.
That's true, but this is also probably like in production. Like,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You could be right.
Yeah.
You could be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. All right.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. All right, are we ready? All right, here we go.
Do it.
A force of Republic clone troops under the guidance of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Captain Rex on the iced-up planet of Orto Plutonia.
Iced up.
Iced up. That's what it says. Iced up. I'm just reading. I'm just saying. Iced up planet of Orto Plutonia to investigate the disappearance of a local clone trooper force. In their company are also C-3PO and R2-D2, along with a party of Pantoran dignitaries, which include Senator Ryo Chuchi and Chairman Chicho, who uses his political leverage over the Jedi to get what he wants. Despite Orto Plutonia being an ice world apparently devoid of sentient life, Chicho vehemently declares that since it is within the boundaries of the Pantora system, Plutonia is technically considered Pantoran territory. Obi-Wan tells Chairman Cho that the decision would be for the Galactic Senate. Guys, Chicho is the worst.
he's the most cartoonishly like I hate peace sort of villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, how can we like get as many like tropes about like colonialism and and like racial superiority complexes and like
racist, colonialist, fear mongering, warmongering. Jerk.
And his name is Chicho.
What's up, Chicho?
Chicho.
Also, I want to talk about Senator Chuchi. This is a character. This is the first time we've been introduced to Senator Chuchi, and she ends up being a recurring character throughout the Clone Wars and beyond. I think most recently we've seen her in Bad Batch.
Yeah, fighting for clones' rights in the Bad Batch. Indeed,
yeah. Senator Chuchi ends up being one of the most one of the best least she's one of the good senators. You know, she's not corrupt. She's like she and Padme and Senator Bail Organa are like kind of the senators who are the most like actually willing to like fight for what's right and fight for the people. And so get to see her. This is kind of her origin, her like the first time she has to like learn to sort of stand up for herself and stand up for what she believes in. And so this is a cool moment to get to see her.
It is.
She was pretty timid there at the very beginning of the episode and wouldn't stand up to the chairman. But then by the end, she is taking charge and set the stage and took care of it.
Yes.
Spoilers, Dad. We're getting there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Here we go. All right, let's do it. All right. Obi-Wan and Rex check out the local Republic base to find all the clone troopers dead, but the console's untouched. Soon, they find a nearby Separatist base, but the droid crew there have also been destroyed, raising suspicion that a third party is behind both killings. The only clues to their identity are a footprint in the snow and a brief image on a holographically recorded distress call. Back at the Republic base, Ryo Chuchi voices her doubts about Separatists being responsible for the raid, since the evidence is inconsistent with that theory, but Chicho stubbornly refuses to give in to such a violent enemy, no matter who it may be. This is kind of where we see Chicho just kind of like really playing his hand of how much of an a-hole he is. Like he's the worst.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
The worst.
The worst.
Indeed.
Anyway, yeah. I scrolled too far. What did I do? Great, got it. Anakin and Obi-Wan follow their clues to a nearby canyon where they spot light reflections. Soon afterwards, they meet primitive but sentient inhabitants, the Talls. Despite the language barrier, Obi-Wan and Anakin manage to make clear that their mission is for peace, and they arrange a meeting between the Pantorans and the Talls. When they deliver the news, Chairman Chicho arrogantly refuses to believe that the Talls can be considered a sentient race and calls them trespassers and animals. He says worse things, but Wikipedia doesn't put it there. He calls them savages. So,
anytime you hear a character call somebody a savage, you know that they're like,
they're the bad guy. They're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Savages. Yeah, not
diminishing someone through name calling.
Yeah. All right. So when they deliver news, Chicho arrogantly refuses to believe that the Talks can be considered a sentient race and calls them trespassers and animals, stating that Pantora hasn't found a single bit of life in the planet in all their history. We haven't seen it. It doesn't exist. Rio Chuchi.
if we don't have it,
if we don't have it, it does not exist. Rio Chuchi tries to mediate, telling that it is for the Senate to decide the matter, but to no avail. Upon arrival at the meeting place, the Tal's chieftain Sen politely asks that the Galactic Republic leave them in peace and withdraw all presence from Orto Plutonia. However, Chi-Cho still refuses to accept that the Tals as sentience and arrogantly declares Plutonia as sovereign Pantoran territory, deliberately provoking a war. All right. In order to gain sanctity for his actions, he declares this to be an internal affair of Pantora. Anakin and Obi-Wan appeal to Rio Chuchi to find a way to resolve this political matter diplomatically. She contacts the Speaker of the Pantoran Assembly, who grants her the authority to negotiate peace and declares the chairman out of order. Let me keep going? Or
yeah, let's keep going.
Cool, sweet. However, the solution comes a bit too late. While returning to their base, Chi-Cho and his escort are ambushed by the Tal's war party, forcing them to fight. Chairman Cho is severely weakened by a spear in his back. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Senator Chuchi arrive just in time to save Cho, Rex, and the remaining escort from being overrun, but even with his last breath, Cho insists killing the Tals is for the good of his people as his final command. Chuchi politely declines, informing him of the Assembly's decision, dumbfounded that he was overruled, that his people prefer peace, claiming that he died for them. Chi expires. Senator Chuchi proposes a peaceful approach and manages to cease hostilities, conceding sovereignty of Plutonia to the Tals. As she and the Jedi board a gunship, Obi-Wan requests that to maintain peace, she should make it last. The end.
Yay!
That was a really quick summary it felt like a much longer episode, but really it was just a lot of just like yelling, racism, and fighting. It was kind of, and then like, and then Chuchi's
a lot of the filler in this episode was Chi-Cho just like yelling savages and war and peace. Bah, who wants peace?
Yeah. Oh man, this is a really good episode, except for Chi-Cho. He was the worst.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the episode, though.
Oh yeah,
because it's real reminiscent of the U.S. campaign against Native Americans across North America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the difference, though, is that the Pantorans agree that Orto Plutonia belongs to the Tals, or that moon. But the Native Americans never received that, just oppression and reservations.
Yeah, but Star Wars isn't political. No, not at all.
Yeah,
no.
The series about space Nazis is definitely not political. This is a fun episode. This is cool. We didn't get a ton of Anakin and Obi-Wan in this one. It was very much focused on like, I mean, it was we did get some of them that kind of led the charge a little bit, but I feel like it was more Senator Chuchi's episode than anybody else.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I thought this was a cool episode. It was a nice, like, well-contained single episode story. I like it's always cool to see like all the different kind of genres and tropes and things that the Clone Wars gets to explore throughout all its different arcs. And like this one, we got to see like, you know, we got Yetis. We got a Yeti episode basically. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. That was cool. It's a cool snow planet. I like the base that they're in, the Republic base. It's like it's got that big tower and then one kind of long window. It almost reminds me of like a clone trooper helmet, like a visor.
Ooh,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. And we got to see Anakin and Obi-Wan Snow Patrol variants with their big old fluffy hoods.
Yeah,
yep.
That's fun.
And same thing with the clones. They had their cool little. The cloth things over.
Yeah, we got to see Rex in his cone head thing.
Also read on Wikipedia they wanted to make this look similar to the South Dakota Badlands, which is where some of the big battles between, like the Little Bighorn, took place. And so I Googled pictures of the South Dakota Badlands in the winter, and it looks really a lot like the scenery in this episode.
Oh, cool!
I like that. So, in case you weren't clear, this was about Americans and Native Americans. Let's be really honest.
Yeah.
I I mean, I'm looking at the continuity section of this episode on Wikipedia, and it says, during the making of the TV series, George Lucas wanted to tell a classic Western story with seemingly primitive native people fighting back against a superior military force in order to defend their homeland. And then it talks about, Dave Filoni said that it was inspired by the Badlands, and so that was very much a clear inspiration.
Oh, yeah. Anybody notice that this is not the first time we've seen the Talls? They look familiar. Dad, you should recognize them.
I recognize them, but I can't remember from where.
There was the Talls in the Mos Eisley Cantina in A New Hope.
Oh!
Yeah.
So an ice planet creature was in the middle of a desert bar.
There's a wretched hum of scum and villainy, Dad. A wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Anything goes.
Yeah. It's...
That's neat. Yeah, like, as soon as you said, like, we've seen this before, I was like, oh yeah, they do look familiar. Where have I seen that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
that's one of the things I like about the kind of expanded universe stuff and in Clone Wars and everything, is getting to see all the different ways in which that's one of the cool things about Star Wars, is that every single background character from every movie has like a backstory eventually.
Yeah.
You know, we get to find out what this one particular species that it was probably like they didn't put much thought into what is this species called and what are they from? They were just like, it was 1976 and they were like, we need a bunch of different weird looking aliens. Let's make one that looks like a Yeti and
we need human sized scary Muppets. Go.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody make a Greedo for me. Yeah.
I mean, you just play more on the Western side of it. I mean, they were riding wild animals like Native Americans riding horses.
Oh, yeah.
And then when they got backed into a corner, all the clones circled the wagons. They circled their motorcycle. Their speeders. They circled the wagons.
Yeah.
They circled the wagons.
Yeah.
Good old space Western Star Wars. We love it.
Yeah.
I also noticed that some of the Talls had atlatls to throw their spears. You guys notice that?
Had what?
Do you guys know what? All right, so I learned this in
in
like history class back in like middle school. But it's like basically a catapult that you hold with your hand to throw a spear.
Yeah.
So you can basically launch it you launch it really fast for like almost 100 yards. That's how
you seen those.
That's how they took down bison. Was with these things.
Or if you've seen those red-handled things for throwing tennis balls for your dog.
Yeah,
I mean, same concept.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like from the Iroquois, from where we get lacrosse.
That's right. Exactly.
That's cool.
Yep.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
The more you know. All right. Well, let's see. Favorite part of the episode, y'all?
When Chicho gets a spear in his back.
I was going to say when Chicho dies.
I'm serious. That's my favorite part of the episode.
He's like,
I'm like, yes, I was thinking,
savages. No.
Yeah, I was going to say when Senator Chuchi brokered peace.
That was good.
That was a great moment, definitely.
Yeah.
One of the things I did want to this isn't like a moment, but I like the all the different speeders that they drove around on. They were cool. They had these cockpits.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Shaped and
windscreens to keep the cold wind off their face.
I remember as soon as they showed up on screen, the glass kind of wraps 360 degrees around to underneath them. I was like, how do they get into that? It's like there's no seam is open, and then they're like, oh, it slides forward. Duh, that's cool. It was so cool. It's such a cool design.
Yeah. Yes, we love a cool ship design, a cool speeder design,
practical and cool looking.
Definitely. Dad, did you have a favorite part of the episode?
It was the end. Yeah, when she negotiated peace. Yep.
Cool. Speaking of which, MVP. I feel like it's got to be Senator Chuchi, right?
Oh, no.
Chuchi, not Chucho, Chuchi.
Chuchi and Chicho.
Yeah.
Senator Chuchi.
Senator Chuchi. Yep.
She gets to stand up for these other people and stand up for her own people, and she comes into her own as a rising leader in the galaxy, and we get to establish her as a character who comes back later. So
she went from timid to confident.
Oh yeah,
indeed. yeah, so I would definitely say she's MVP. And then more Star Wars is better. Star Wars. How does this episode make movies the rest of Star Wars better? I mean, I think Senator Chuchi is number one to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciated like Rex's hesitance to follow Chicho's orders.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like the fact, like the moral compass that like these like clones that are bred for killing have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, just like they're like, I don't know. It might have just been like a chain of command thing. Like he's like, I don't know if I report to him. Like I do it, but like he clearly like Rex. We know that like Rex clearly was uncomfortable with what Chicho was like spitting out, and it was just like, do I have to follow this guy because this is nuts? Like I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Well, before he did anything, he was referring to Obi-Wan and Anakin. He always deferred to them. Wait till they said okay. Yeah. And they never did more than they were told to.
Right. Because like they did fight the Talls, but only after only basically
only to defend.
Only like if I was getting like they like only shot them down if they were getting charged by them.
Yeah. Good old Rex.
Yeah.
Always great.
Yeah, I thought this was a good episode because it does deal with some serious and real moral and ethical issues that we still see today. But it also shows that not everything is solved with a lightsaber.
Indeed.
We didn't see a single lightsaber this episode.
That's true. No, we did. One thing that I did like is that at the very end when Obi-Wan's talking to Senator Chuchi, he's like, make it last, and then he says something like, we want, so that all wars can come to an end, basically.
Yeah.
Which was it was interesting to me because, like, on the one hand, like, yes, I like that he's got the right idea about like the purpose of war is to end it and not to to fight for power, but to like achieve peace.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, he's a general in the army of this like weird war that's I mean, there's a whole other conversation to be had about like there's only so much that they know about the fact that this war is all a ploy by Palpatine. They don't know that aspect of it, but still it's like it's I feel like even Obi-Wan, who like clearly understands that like war is bad and like the goal of war is to achieve peace and to like end the war, he still like is throughout the Clone Wars is an active participant in this thing that like ends up harming a lot of people, like especially later in the Clone Wars in like season 7 we see how this war has affected kind of the regular folk of the galaxy and how it directly affects them and negatively affects them in ways that like the Jedi aren't aware of because they're kind of they're on the front lines or they're up on the high levels of Coruscant and they're not interacting with one-on-one with people. So just cool to see like kind of that insight into Obi-Wan and to see that he's a wise Jedi master, but at the same time like he and all the other Jedi are still like kind of fooled and
sucked into it.
So well, I think that's all we've got to do to talk about
Wilhelm screams.
I don't think we got any Wilhelm screams. There were no main character kills.
Well, Chicho.
He's not a main character.
But it's not character deaths. It's it's main characters that killed people.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. And then lost limbs. I don't think anybody lost a limb that I'm aware of. So
no. A lot of falling into bottomless pits, but no limbs were lost.
Yeah. Well, this has been super fun.
Oh,
we have Dad on the podcast.
We do have a voicemail.
Ooh.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I couldn't figure out how to download it off of... So, Google Voice has started doing, like, it's only on my phone now, and it's like I can't figure out how to download it, so maybe Jackie can help me later.
Huh.
But I'll just play it into the microphone if I can find the...
Okay.
It's from Jason. Press.
What?
I know, right?
Hey, Jason.
Where is it? Voice. Here we go.
Hello, Unlimited Content. It is Jason Henson calling in. It's been a while. Actually just watched episode 3 of Ahsoka last night. The best part was seeing Jason actually having a role in the show. Wasn't sure if that would be a thing, but it was. My main thing I wanted to get to, and Sam and I talked about this, what would be the implications if Ezra never used the Purgil to get rid of Thrawn? You know, like, if Thrawn were still in existence during New Hope, what would that look like? I have my thoughts. I discussed with Sam briefly about that. I would say right off the bat, the rebellion would not even get a finger off the ground because Thrawn is very cold and calculated and diabolical. So that was my input. Can't wait to talk to you guys later. Bye.
So if Thrawn survived the Rebels finale, didn't get sent off with the Purgle, and was still around, and like basically the Ghost Crew loses that battle and Thrawn escapes, how do we think Star Wars looks different? Now remember, this happens like right before New Hope.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he would probably like. I mean, is there any rank higher than Grand Admiral that he could get to, other than like, is Grand Moff higher? I guess.
I think Grand Admiral and Grand Moff are like on par with each other. I'll look it up. You keep talking, but
okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question, but it's one of those what ifs that's like, yeah, it could drastically affect everything because he's such like a powerful and cunning strategist, you know, like, and he generally did not underestimate the rebels. So yeah,
I think would it have changed the Rogue One story any, where they actually get the Death Star plans?
Oh yeah, that's a good.
Okay,
that's
so
a good
Grand
question.
Admiral does outrank Grand Moff. From what I'm seeing. So
really?
Thrawn outranks Tarkin.
Dang.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So Thrawn, like we read in the books. I don't know if this is still canon, but in the Thrawn, like the Thrawn trilogy, Thrawn figures out that the Empire is building a Death Star before the rebellion does.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just by like analyzing trade routes, it's like, oh, there's a lot of whatever material goes into like making the hull of. It's the same hull, like material that they use to make the hull of like Star Destroyers. But like he's like, we don't need that many Star Destroyers. Where is all this material going? And he just like moonlights like running audits to figure out where all this stuff is going, and figures out that like, oh, we're building a battle station and it's giant. I'm gonna go find it. And that's like the first Thrawn book. And then like that's how he gets the attention of the Emperor, is like he figures out that he's building a Death Star. Just by like open source data in the Empire.
Wow.
Master researcher.
Yeah, because it's really his right hand man, this guy by the name of Eli Vanto. Eli was like he's like basically this farm boy from like way out in the Outer Rim, but his company owned his family owned a shipping company, and he was like basically really good at like shipping inventory and all this stuff. And Thrawn like personally selected, I want you for whatever reason, probably because he had a hunch that the Empire was doing something with shipping stuff, and he like wanted to be able to figure out through like that kind of thing. It's crazy. It's way smarter than I am, but it's really
Thrawn is smarter than most of us.
Yeah,
but not smart enough to not get abducted by whales.
No. Oops.
So.
Yeah. No. The Thrawn book. Is it on my shelf somewhere? I don't know.
Which is this the original Thrawn books or the new ones?
The new one. The new one.
Okay.
So the original, like, is based on this. Whatever.
Yeah, I know it's like the new canon kind of
yes,
reinterpretation of Thrawn's story.
Yeah, written by
because originally
it's still written by Timothy Zahn, but he rewrote it to be in line with canon, like the new canon.
Yeah, because the original Thrawn trilogy of books written by Timothy Zahn was like for a long time was basically the closest thing we had to an official sequel trilogy. Because it like involved Luke and all that, and like it was basically like this is what happens after Return of the Jedi, and that Thrawn was like the new villain for like that post trilogy. And then they decanonized that once Disney bought everything. But then they brought back Thrawn in Rebels.
But they are there's a lot of hunches going around that like they're going to adapt more of that storyline from these books into like the stuff that comes after Ahsoka, because the movie that like is going to tie up this whole like thing of media is basically like the Avengers of like this like
of the Mandoverse.
Is called Heir to the Empire. It's like what they're going to call it, and that's like what.
Ooh, really?
And that's what the Thrawn books were called. It was Thrawn Heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
So it like the movie is supposed to be called Heir to the Empire. So it's basically like I think Thrawn, before the First Order shows up like in real full force, actually takes back over, and then they dethrone him, and then the First Order shows up, or something, or he establishes the First Order and they dethrone him. I don't know,
something like that. I'm super excited to see what happens there. Like I'm curious as to like in the Ahsoka series, like I'm curious as to how it will end. Like I mean, there's a lot of obviously questions, things that we don't know, and like lots of mysteries in the show already. But like I'm curious as to will Thrawn still be around after this, or is this like I mean I hope so. I hope he continues to be like a major villain. And that he's not just like in live action for this one show and then like they defeat him and that's it.
I doubt that.
You know, it's still cool to have him, but like
because I think he's the best big bad left in Star Wars.
One other thing I wanted to talk about briefly about Ahsoka is I like the fact that you know this what this show is kind of doing, in addition to like you know being Rebels season 5, it's also kind of fleshing out a little bit of the early days of the New Republic prior to the sequel trilogy, and kind of all the problems that lead into like basically the collapse of the New Republic and the rise of the First Order and everything, and you know, and we get to see like you know with that conversation that Hera has with like those I don't know the council members, the senators, or whoever that was, with Mon Mothma and the other folks,
right?
That whole conversation of like clearly these people are like they're being way too nonchalant about like the existence of Imperial sympathizers, and they're just like no, they'll be loyal to us, sure, it'll be great,
everything's
fine.
A paper,
it's very much like
duh, like they're fine,
It's very much like I think we see in the New Republic a lot of the same problems that existed in the old, like in the Republic prior to the original trilogy, like in the prequel era, which like lots of you know bureaucracy and corruption, like all those problems are still there. Like it, you know, it's not the Empire anymore,
no,
but it's still like you know we're kind of back to you know having a lot of the same problems that we had before,
and a lot of people just comfortable with their new business arrangement. I'm comfortable, nothing's going to change, but change always happens. It's kind of like
remember,
you know, Chamberlain before World War II.
I don't remember if it was in Andor or I forget what other, or like the most recent season of Mando, where they're kind of following the Imperial remnants or something. But like it was like these people at like this I think it was at the Opera House on Coruscant. They're like Empire, Republic, I can't keep track. They sign my checks. I don't really care. Like that's that's like the MO of most of these like the upper elites in the New Republic is like, I don't really care. My checks are still getting signed. Like I'm still in power. I still have my penthouse on Coruscant. Like I'm good. Like I don't really care who's in charge.
Yeah.
So, oops, not great.
Whoops.
Well, Jason, thanks for the question about Thrawn. That was great.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. It's a hard question to answer.
It is a hard question to answer. Would be
it's a good question, though.
very much different if Thrawn were still around in the original trilogy. It'd be bad. Bad. That's how it would go.
It'd be bad.
Bad.
Definitely.
Yep.
Well, it's been great. It's been a real fun time to have. It's been a few weeks since we've recorded a podcast because of various things. Like I've been, we had to miss last week because people were busy, and then but like the week before that, I worked like 10 days in a row for work because I was transitioning from my old schedule to my new one, and so it's been a little while since we got to record, and it was nice to get to finally catch up with you and to get to hang out with my dad on his birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad!
Thank you, guys. It's a good day. It is a good day.
It's been great to have you finally as like an official main guest
Yes.
on the
Thank you
show.
so
Yeah.
much.
This is episode 20. Jack, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's nuts. How did we get here already?
I don't
How did
know.
that happen?
I don't know, man. We've been doing this for more than half a year. It's wild.
We're like 1% of the way through our content.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But yeah, man, this is super good. I like this podcast, Sam. This is fun.
I do too.
This is good. This is great. Big fan.
Yay.
Yes.
I'll
Well,
keep going.
if you'd like to join in the discussion, leave a voicemail at 512-850-6653, and we might feature your comments, questions, or corrections on the podcast. And again, that number will be in the episode description.
Yeah, we'll definitely get your questions. Might not get your voice. We'll definitely get your questions.
We'll figure it out. Some people please.
Yeah.
Join us next time when we'll be talking about the Clone Wars Season 1, Episodes 17 and 18, Blue Shadow Virus, and Mystery of a Thousand Moons. And we may have another guest next week, so
Yeah.
tune in for that.
Cal. Yeah, Cal.
Cal Kestis
Cal Kestis.
of Jedi Fallen Order?
Yes, that's the one.
The Jedi who loves to kill animals?
Definitely not our cousin Cal. Cal Kestis from the Star Wars.
All right. Well, I love you all. Thank you for listening, and may the Force be with you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, cut the chatter. Roger, Roger.